with Katie Bowman.
All right, and we're back with another episode of Help Me, I'm Scared with Katie Bowman. I'm your host, Katie Bowman, and today we have the amazing Rebeca Trejo in the house. Boop-a-doo. And my awesome...
Over my name.
Is that when you wanted it?
Rebeca Trejo.
We are talking about the Babadook. And we're just going to get all the sounds wrong today.
No, I love it. I love it.
No, it's fine. And we also have my amazing producer in the house, JD Lopez.
Thank you. Thank
Love
you.
it. Extra sounds.
Haven't slept. Rebecca is injured. This is gonna be a good one.
We're gonna get through it.
I have slept, just not well. Okay. Yes, I'm so excited that you picked the Babadook. How has your day been? Did this happen today?
No, that happened 3 days ago.
Okay.
I was riding my bike in the mountains, trying to
Oh,
have a good time, trying to be free, back to school, and then life was
Yeah.
like, no, bitch, you're
Oh
not.
my
So
God.
I wish I had like an amazing story to tell it, but like
That is amazing.
it was on a green trail. I was going like 3 miles per hour, and then I like stumbled on a rock and like slashed
Oh
my leg open, and then rode for 2 hours. I rode for 2 hours, and my pants didn't rip.
Because you're like, my kids are in school. I gotta
Yeah,
maximize
literally,
this time.
that was me. I'm like, fuck this,
You're like, I
kids.
can
And
do
then
this.
drove to a mountain, like, had other plans for myself. The pants didn't rip, so I was like, let's go.
So you didn't know it was so bad?
And then 2
She's got
hours
a
later, I
horrible
went
knee
to...
wound, just so the audience
I
knows.
went to change, and then I see my leg, and then I'm like, oh shit, I think I need stitches. And then like I have the pictures of the blood, of the stitches, and then
Oh
I
my
was just like,
God.
in that moment of pain, I was like, can you guys make sure I just get out of here in time so I can go and pick up my kids at school?
Aww.
Like,
You
what
told
the
that to the
fuck?
doctor?
You're
Yes.
like disassociating.
She was like, I think you're gonna have to call somebody to pick them up, ma'am. I'm like,
It's like, you don't have a husband? Was she
Uh-huh.
real judgy?
no, but my husband broke his arm.
That
Oh
same
my
day?
God.
No, like
Okay.
2 weeks ago.
Oh my
So we're
gosh.
like, yeah, man. I mean, we're out here now, so let's
Yeah.
go. So this scary movie was like nothing. I'm like, let me talk to you about scary.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you made it. You know what's so crazy is on the way over here, I had to drive around a family biking, and I just remember thinking like, man, biking must be scary with a kid on the back. And then I was like, biking can be scary. And then I got here and you hurt yourself biking. How serendipitous is that? Anyway,
But
I thought that was
love it.
bigger of a connection than everyone.
I mean, it's all out there. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, it is weird, you know. It's like
Yes.
a group thing. It's like you were like, maybe you were you're like, this leg hurts, but I'm doing my thing, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
I caught that energy in the atmosphere.
Hell
You know what
yeah.
I mean? And I'm like, man, biking can be dangerous.
Yeah. My husband broke his arm. He's humorous now. He cannot even shower.
Oh,
So you know,
my
now I'm cleaning
God.
poor
So
assholes
do
in
you...
the house.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I was just
That's
about to say, like, do you
probably
think
kinda
you're cursed?
funny.
But I mean, that's pretty bad.
I mean,
Exactly.
you gotta love.
You
is
clean your
getting the
husband's asshole?
Do you know how many assholes I clean at my job, you guys?
Oh my
Sure.
God, cut
She's not
that
getting paid.
because that's the only
She's
thing that he
not
can do
getting
for
paid.
him.
But that's
But I do have to
love.
give him a shower, and it's been only 14 years together, so I didn't know I was gonna have to get into that type of care so early. And he has put a lot of tests, but at the end of the day, when I got my stitches, it was 6 a.m. I was trying to shower him with like my legs stretched out, and I could start crying or laughing, and he was just like, "Look at us trying to have a life outside, kids."
Oh my gosh. And then you have kids on top of all that. That's a lot. And you look so good still. You're just like, look at
Rocking
this
that Target
style.
fashion.
This style.
I do love Target.
And it's amazing. It's all Target.
Yeah, girl.
my
Well, no, the
gosh,
shoes
that's
are
okay.
Ross dress for less.
Heck yeah. I
Yeah.
love Ross.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Babadook. Well,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you haven't listened to the pod, which is totally fine if you haven't, we just go through the plot and then we talk about your fears and other things. And I love that the Babadook has like a cicada vibe. Like
I
every
was once
time-
a cicada, another sign, 4th grade.
Yeah.
The animals of God. Oh my God.
Wah.
The animals of God. Wah.
Yeah. Okay. So The Babadook follows a single mother. Her son was born. Um, the day he was born, her husband died, and so there's a lot of trauma that this woman. But it's like, boom, you're a single mom the day your son's born, and so she's done her best, but he's 6 years old now, and he is starting to see a monster around the house and just can't. He's like hysterical about it, and she is just trying to keep it down, keep it chill, but she can't. And then because he's so hysterical, he gets sent home from school. He gets in trouble at a birthday party. All these things happen, and it turns out that the Babadook actually is real. So anyway, we'll get into the plot. So
Do you think Israel? Okay, I thought it was like a metaphor.
no,
for
he's
her
definitely a
mental
metaphor,
state.
but I do think like in the movie, even though it's a metaphor, it's like still
Is there like she gets possessed, right? Like in that
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
but it's like how it feels, right? Like, did you like I just saw another really great horror film, The Night House, and it's a similar thing, but I don't want to spoil it, so we will stay here. But
I can do it.
but yeah, like it is definitely a metaphor for grief
Yeah.
and trauma,
Uh-huh.
and that like you have to keep living despite what you've been through, and that like you can't just bury it down. I would say, right? You
I
can't
was
bury down your truths.
exactly no because her husband died, so it took her like 7 years.
Yeah.
Like right, she never really got over it, which I
Yeah.
related to. Can you imagine just being left with kids? I watched it. It was
Yeah.
weird for me to recommend to you this movie because I saw it before I had kids.
Oh,
And now
wow.
I understood it in a whole different level.
Oh
Like,
my God,
let me tell you, that kid was
yeah.
so annoying, and she kept it together for so long.
Dude, oh my God, I get annoyed and I get stressed out too because I was like that when I was little, and my parents would discipline me, and she never does until like she gets possessed.
She never disciplined him, which I'm not trying
She's
to
so
act.
patient.
The
Like
patience.
physically, you mean?
No.
Yes.
I'm not saying hit your children. No,
I got
because
spanked.
gentle. Me too. No, and I'm not saying that's the way, but the
Yeah.
unwavering patience of that lady. Well, the boy was like
Yes.
insane. Like
Yeah.
it was behavioral issues,
crazy.
blah blah
And
blah.
he was so real.
But I think he was right because he was seeing a monster in real life.
Yeah, like he was such a good actor, and he was he was a real
He was such a good
6-year-old.
actor. That little
a
kid.
real
I
6-year-old.
hated him. So it was like you are living through
They
this
pulled
role.
a Pet Cemetery. It was such good acting for a 6-year-old. You're just
Oh,
like, what the
really?
heck? Yeah, it's a
Ah.
female director, so again, she takes such good care of the kid throughout on set.
I know.
and
It's that was what I was
yeah.
thinking. Who lends their kids to this shit?
I know it's still kind of a little sketch there, but I do love when a director's like, this is a kid.
Yeah.
Let's treat them like a real kid.
Yeah.
And you can tell, and that's how they were with Gage in Pet Cemetery. Like apparently they had like 11 dummies or something made of him so that he only had to be in the cute parts. Yeah, and it's like nice to know that there's like some kind of workaround, because it is like a really sketchy thing about child acting, But anyway, back to you, the story. I'm so sorry. Did I cut you off?
No, you didn't.
Well, you
Okay.
said something about it as a mother, seeing it now and being a mother.
Yes.
Oh, it
see,
was
now
different
I
because
wanted
I
to go
was
back
like,
to
oh
that.
my God, can you imagine your partner just leaving you with a kid? Like, I was more afraid of that than
Yeah.
the fucking Baba.
Oh my
sorry, can
God,
we
that
curse?
is like
Yeah.
Than
scary
the
as
Babadook.
fuck.
I was
Yeah.
like,
It's
I
a
ain't trying to take from this kid so
responsibility that
That is
is
long.
funny.
thankless. It's
Well,
a
you said he
thankless
just left.
responsibility.
He died. I mean,
He
you're like, he just
died.
left. He
Getting
just
left with
I mean-
kids.
And she never got over. I'm like, how did that kid survive that car crash, first of all?
I know, but how did it not?
And then she never got over it for 7 years.
I know she's like
She
shaking
never
in the
took
beginning.
naps, apparently. Never slept throughout the entire movie, which is like sleep psychosis. Been there, done that. It's called
Yeah.
asthma attack of your kids. So like you
Yeah.
start freaking transforming. So I was like, oh my God, I relate to this lady. Is this me
Yeah.
after like the second week of school that starts? So I related into the challenge of that is of like raising a kid when you have no idea what you're doing. You're not trying to hurt them. you're not trying to show them like that you're carrying grief and that you're sad, but then you're a human being, right?
Yeah, totally.
So you have to like live your emotions sometimes a little too hard, like in this horror movie.
Yeah, it talks
Hopefully it
about
doesn't
how
have to
important
be
it
that
is.
way,
All the
but
pressure.
probably goes that way
Yeah.
for so many kids.
Well, and you feel like you have to be like, I feel like there's so much pressure on single moms, especially. Oh God, that picture, that part was so scary.
Yeah,
That
she's
part
the
was
Babadook right
yo.
We're
I'm
looking
so
at the
creeped out
photo
that
of
you
the
just did
film where
that because
she,
that was the part that haunted me of the movie. Not even the Babadook.
she
How do
sees
you end
herself
up
just
here?
being all crazy. that would be
That's what's scary,
That
seeing
would-
yourself
because-
acting crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like that
Yeah.
movie Smile. You're like,
Yeah.
what?
Well,
Why
that movie,
why do you look like
Men,
me?
Exactly.
where you guys
look
talked
at,
about
look at
the-
that fucking hunting
Oh yeah,
stare.
men. Yeah.
you guys said that something that's always stuck with me from this podcast is you guys saying that the scariest thing is a man running towards you.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what's more scary, a man running towards you or seeing yourself like
Seeing
in this
yourself.
situation?
That one, seeing
This was-
myself,
Seeing
seeing myself
yourself
with that stare.
with
the
that
devil, the
face?
devil is in there. Yeah, look at that shit.
That face looks like
And she was
she's about to
standing
fuck some
outside,
shit
like
up.
in front, seeing this scene, and then it's just like a tiny part of the scene, which is like creepier, but
Yeah.
they close it there.
Well, and
It
it's
was- yeah,
peeking.
I
It's like
loved it, yeah.
peeking at that part.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
so
like,
we should get into
Sorry,
like the
yeah.
chronology.
This is how it goes.
Yes, no, it's so good. The way that they accent all the spooks in this too, like the spooky parts, it's incredible. So it starts off with her in a nightmare, and it's like a nightmare memory of her trauma where she's in a car accident with her husband. Then it's bedtime, and the kid is talking about the monster already, and she's like, still, and it's so they do such a good job of like,
oh my god, sorry, I'm gonna
Oh my God,
jump
no,
the
please go up.
sedative. She was like putting tranquilizers in her kid, and then child support came, like they were gonna take him away.
yeah.
So I'm like, that's the reality of a single mom right there.
yeah,
Not putting tranquilizers in their kids. Not that.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say that's a little extreme, right? That's like that.
And then the
Usually
kid
what
was like,
happens.
"Mom, no, I don't want to take it." She's like, "Take it," because she's overtaken right by this demon by now.
yeah. Oh my God.
But
Oh, the demons.
Yeah,
in
so wait, that's
her.
at the very end though.
Yeah,
But
sorry,
yeah,
sorry,
no,
sorry.
no, that's okay. No, it gets so crazy.
yeah.
No, so yes, but it is. So the beginning though, she's just like, what? Like trying to figure out what he's talking. Like, because kids see monsters all the time. That's what his therapist says to her. No one's validating her. She's just single, and she also has this pressure. You can tell of like trying to be like, I'm fine, and she's like, not fine. And so, she's easily overwhelmed and triggered by him, but just doing her best. She's so patient. She works at a nursing home too, which is like, oh my God, that's also really hard. Yeah.
Yes,
I did some
yeah.
community service at a nursing home, and it really scared me.
Respect.
Like, I was
Respect to
like,
nurses. After what happened to my husband, that he broke his arm, I'm like, respect to anybody that's giving other people showers. Like that
yeah.
is
It's so
humbling.
It is humbling, and it's interesting.
So yeah, she's
It's also very
miserable
human.
at this nursing home. As
Yes,
to
and
be expected.
and the school calls her, and they're like, your son had this like contraption, and it's like this like slingshot, one of the ones where you put it on your back and there's like a little hold cup. Like, say there was a little ball in my arm, and then you slingshot it like a cannonball, and it's like really crazy. It's funny, but he's like, he broke a window or something at the school, right? And
Yeah.
they're like, why does he have this here?
More like a
And
trebuchet.
what?
Oh
what-
no, it's
He was just getting in a lot of trouble at school.
You don't see the other side of it,
All right.
but it is. Yeah, and so she just has this like smile too, like that is like where she's just like, what's next,
Yeah.
and she's very disassociative, and so then he gets sent home from school, and on the way back he's like, my teacher hates me, and she's like, no one hates you, like they're trying. And so then we find out for sure that the dad died in a crash on the way to the hospital when she was pregnant, and so you're like, oh man, that's really tough. She got left with kids. And then that kind of sets up a lot of the movie, right? Like, you're like, okay, so this woman just basically had to start being a mom without processing like any of her trauma.
Exactly.
And then Samuel is still talking about this monster. And so there's parts where like she's hanging out with her sister, and her sister's so awful. She's like so dismissive.
Oh my God, the
She
sister.
made me so mad. She's
Yeah.
like, sorry, we might not come for his birthday because my daughter just doesn't want to hang out with him. And it's like, she's like, I don't like that he scares her. And it's like, kids scare each other all the time. You know what I mean? Like, you're her sister. Like, help her figure stuff. Like, there's just not, I don't like that she starts there, you know?
Do kids scare each other all the time?
I think
that's like a
so.
youth thing because you like scaring people.
No, I feel like
if one of my cousins was giving me a weird
Yeah.
vibe when I was a kid, I would not want to
that's
hang out with them.
so funny. Oh my God, I had that friend that I hung out with that was like, she was a Satanist. I swear to God, like, or sadist, Satanist. She was a sadist. You guys, I didn't sleep.
And did you
well
hang
last
out
night.
with her?
My mom is one of those
And
things
your
where
mom
like
made
you
you
don't
hang out
know,
there?
like your parents kind of put you together, or you're like are in the same classes. You're always around each other, so it's just like. And the mom's parents are friends. Her mom was a godsend, but she died of cancer when we were like 10.
From the kid Satan worship, you think? Something there?
No, sadist means you're a person that enjoys
Pain.
other people's pain. And so it's like an act of sadism. There's like certain, like, I wouldn't say that Jeffrey Dahmer was a sadist. I think that he was a serial killer for sure, but he also he was like, detached from his mom for a month and had to get surgery. And then like, I think there's like neglect and lots of other things that happen to a child that causes that. Sadism would be, who is it? Oh, I would say like John Wayne Gacy is like a good example of sadist, but serial killer too. Or anyone who's enjoying, or like Eileen Wuornos targeted men because she got raped by men. And so like she's not enjoying it, but it's a revengeful thing after all this trauma that she couldn't handle. So it's like an interesting different act of sadism, but I swear to God, this girl I used to hang out with was a sadist. Like one time, like she'd always like her brother and her were getting fights and they would pull knives out on each other. And I was just like,
oh, hell no.
Yeah. And then one time the dad literally grabbed her head and like bum, bum, bum into a wall right in front of me. And like, he was like, stop screaming. And like, I was terrified. And then so she has some issues for sure.
There's some stuff going on in that house.
And
there's the answer.
So then she also like would take it out on me sometimes. And she would like hurt me and then laugh about it. And then one time she was like, let's go swim with my brother. I've tried to make this into a joke so many times and it just like bums everyone out. But I still thought it was kind of funny because I'm like, you're such a bitch. Like, she was like, she'd always want to hang out with her brother, and her brother was also like, awful. Like, and so I was like terrified of him because they're pulling knives out on each other and shit. And she's like always wanting to hang out with him and go flirt with his friends. And I'm like, this is the last thing I want to do, you know? And so she'd be like, let's go swim. They're at the pool right now. And I'm like, I don't want to swim. Then we go in the pool and she would like ambush them and like cannonball in the pool. And then he would be like, Natalie, get your fat ass out of the pool. And she would go, Katie's fatter. And I was like, you're going to pull me into like, what the hell kind of friend is that? That's crazy.
That's not a friend, Katie.
No, I know.
That is not a friend.
Are you guys
She actually
friends?
sent me a message.
No, I know.
She sent me a message on Instagram. I don't follow her because she scared me as a kid. I'm like, I'm done. I dealt with her like all the way up through high school on and off, and it just got too much. But she sent me a message on International Women's Day and was like, I'm so glad to have people like you. And we haven't talked in like years. And I was like, not responding to that.
Exactly. Trying to bring back into your
like,
life.
no. I just never forget all those weird things she would do.
So she's like the sister of the movie. You would say.
Yeah,
That's
it
the
is
vibe.
mean. Okay,
Yeah,
just
mean. So the
so
sister is a mean.
Yeah.
CUNT. And doesn't want to support her sister. She's like, deal with your troubled child on your own. Don't come around. You're a
Yeah.
bad mom. And she's like, get over your husband. It's been 7 years.
Yeah,
Which
like that's
kind of sure no.
also is like the
I
word
don't agree.
that
Yeah.
takes like a beautiful thing like raising a kid and makes it into like just complete survival mode. Like you don't even get to help like have a minute to like take a breath. It's just sad. So then we get introduced to Mr. Babadook.
She reads him like a story that right?
Yeah,
Reads
right.
his
She's
story.
like, let's pull this book out, and he's like, how about this book?
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, that'd be
Obviously.
so
Obviously.
it'd be so scary if your
About
kid.
this
What would you
book.
do if one of your kids like were like, I want to read this scary book, and you're like, where did this book come from? And they're like, it was in the bookshelf.
I would be like they pick a book every night, which
Your
like,
children.
but like
Yeah.
right now I'm like reading what I'm reading, so like maybe so they would just fall asleep quick. But if they ever did that, I probably would read it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You would read
okay.
a scary book that they brought that you'd never seen before?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't. Well, I think I would.
I'll be like,
do-
let's read.
I
it.
would do what she's doing, where she's like realizing in real
'cause
time.
exactly. You start to read, and then you're like, oh shit.
And
Okay,
then
maybe
it's
not.
getting like worse and worse.
Yeah, and she's like,
'Cause
and
I
you're gonna
read-
die. Or like,
Yeah, it's like once you see him, you'll be dead. And like all of a sudden, she's like, "Okay, we're gonna do a different one." And then it snaps to him screaming because she wouldn't read the rest of the book. And so there's like that part of it where they want that like to feel like they have a choice, you know. And so it's a very hard situation. I feel like, anyways, I probably would have been like, "What is it?" Because it looks like a kid's book, you know. And it tells you that you'll hear 3 knocks on the door, and they'll be like sharp knocks, and then if you open it you let him in, and then once you see him you'll wish you were dead. That's what she's like. Picks another book, and so she then, after he finally falls asleep, she hides the book, and then she starts to like masturbate to calm down. That's so relatable. I was like, it is. I was like, yeah, what do you do? Like, that's what every doctor tells you to do. They're like, have you tried masturbating to fall asleep at night? You know what I mean? Like, and then
I don't know what that is.
so she has, she has like a fight over
Like the fact that she has energy in her, I would have been just like laying on the floor and then just wake up the other day with like all drooling me. I'm like, another day, another fight. Here we go.
I can see both sides of it. 'Cause I
Yeah,
can see
for
you being
sure.
so like stressed after your
Yeah.
kid's screaming for that long that you're like, I need to relax, or I can see you just passing out.
No, that would be amazing. But the fact that she gets there after not getting like a 5
She
nights
almost
of
gets
sleep,
there.
like almost exactly. Then
Yeah, she's
obviously,
you're like, she's about to come, and then her kid jumps on the bed. 'Cause-
Oh.
yeah. It's
a
like-
nightmare.
So they like catch that like privacy that a mom feels so well in that moment. I thought like,
That's scary.
and for the kid, he's like, hearing probably like he's seeing her moaning, and then he's also hearing probably the like weird sound, the vibrator. So he jumps on the bed, right? So he's like, and so she's just like, oh my god, and like, you need to go to bed, and you know, you just feel really bad for her. Sam thinks the book's real still, and he keeps getting scared and starts talking about it now. And
she
now
never finishes.
and
Like,
she never finishes. Yeah,
and that's why she has that face. It's just carrying her around years.
That's a
30
woman
years.
who's never had an orgasm.
Exactly. She's ready to come.
Oh, they're like, this is gonna
That's
make
so
me come.
scary, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that picture.
70% of women don't have an orgasm. Is that the right
That's insane.
before they die?
Before they die?
Like, no, some women never have had an orgasm. I bet that's so different now, but
Yeah, for sure.
that was like a statistic I heard. Something like, we'll have to look it up. But so there's also these great scenes throughout the movie where she is like being like floated down into her bed. And I just love how they did it. There's really beautiful editing and visuals in this film as much as there's also terrifying ones. It's very gothic almost. And so anyway, so she is so creeped out, and then she finally starts to see it one night. There's like a hat in it's her husband's suit, but it looks like a little ghost on the wall. You know when you look on a door and you think that there's like someone standing there, but it's just your jacket? They get that like real good. But it's like too welly put on the door that it's like scary, kind
Is
of.
that the first time that she sees it?
I think that's the first time, besides the book.
Okay.
But I feel like
yeah.
that's the first time she sees it is when she just first sees clothing, right? And
Yeah,
then she
yeah.
starts to have weird like moments, and the kid is just getting more and more obsessed with it, and she's really tired. She's not sleeping, like,
And she
at
never
all.
leaves the house.
And they're never leaving the house. They're never getting fresh air.
She'll be like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm not but I understand probably a single mom, she doesn't have like, right, she cannot just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been,
She's just like isolated. You're isolated. They show how isolating it can be. And I mean, people used to judge single mothers so hard. You know, they're like, "Oh, she's a whore now." It's like, okay, like let's slow down.
Insane. That's
Yeah,
like my grandmother.
like that's like literally
my grandmother to my mom. And my mom had me really young when she was 19, and she was like, "You cannot enter the house until you're married. You can, like until
Yeah.
you're married, you
Oh,
cannot walk
wow.
until you walk in the house of God. You cannot enter my house." So then my mom got married like by force, and then my dad was like a women beater for
Oh my
like so
God.
and then she was criticized when she got divorced, and she was a single mom. But it's like, what do you want her
Yeah.
to stay and die? Which is probably like what society
They're like,
wants.
yeah.
A single mom is definitely like, they're not right. They should, but they're not like, I feel
That reminds me of the movie Men.
recognized as much as they
Yeah.
should. Because I am telling you, I have help. My partner helps me a lot, and it's
He
still
sounds
fucking
great.
unbearable. Well, maybe. It all depends.
No, but that's like so. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh,
But that's a really common story too. It's like really sad. When I worked at Planned Parenthood, I would have a lot of moms trying to get out of a really abusive situation, and they couldn't. And I remember one time a friend of mine was like, "Hey, would you want to do this blood draw? She just really could use someone that could make her smile." And I went in there, and she was like crying. And I said, "Hey, you're here to gain control, not to lose it. Whatever you need, we got you." And then she was like, "Thank you for just being so kind." And then like just tears started going down her face. And I was like, and then she told me a lot. And it was like, oh my God, like these women are so stuck sometimes.
yeah, especially in like society, because in South America, it's like a curse on your family, so they don't even see it like
oh my
as
gosh,
like a social problem. That's like an epidemic of like women dying. But they see it like, oh, it's gonna hurt the family.
Yeah.
Our honor. I'm like, what honor? Like, there's no honor here. Like,
Yeah.
probably I have yeah.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of so many things. Like, special, like it makes me think of like Sinead O'Connor when she like tore the picture up on SNL, and she's like, "These priests are hurting our kids," and then she got like excommunicated. It's like so sad. And then she literally was like, "I'm going to be an activist. This was a sign that I shouldn't sing anymore, and I should be like a human rights advocate." And like, I just think that's like so, like that's a real martyr in like a good way. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, like she's like using her energy in a really great way.
I know, respect to that.
Totally. And so this mom is very isolated, and
so shout out to single moms out there giving it their best.
yes, you are amazing. You are amazing. Every single mom I know though is also really sweet. A lot of the ones that I'm working with.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean, moms with partners that are good is also a really beautiful thing to see. You never know. So it's getting really tense in this movie. You see lots of like quick scenes of the kid like in the back seat having a tantrum, and the mom just driving straight, and like it's just getting like so loud, And we end up also seeing him go. He finally does go to Claire's daughter's birthday party, and Claire's daughter like bullies him because he goes
The sister, the evil sister.
the sister, and
She has a
that little
daughter which is just as evil as
girl.
her mom. They're replicas. They're like the villains.
Yeah.
But that little girl is so
Oh man,
mean.
she put me back in my
like a bully that you
she
would
put
have when
me
you're
like I was like
little.
I'm 5 years old again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're
Like
not good. Your daddy doesn't love you.
yeah, oh my
So
god.
just like the
you don't have a dad.
classic bully
like
comments.
just so misunderstanding.
Uh-huh.
Also, it tells you how much the parents talk about it in front of her, which is
Yeah.
upsetting. And that is a really common thing that I've seen too. It's just like
There's a little girl.
Why does she know all
There.
this? You
There
know?
she is.
Yeah. Oh, you can tell she's a bad bitch. She's
Exactly.
like
Yeah, those bangs are.
Yeah.
she's got straight across bangs so that she can give
My
you.
kids have straight across. But
No, they're
not
so
like
cute.
that.
Your kids look. Your
Oh my
kids
God.
don't have.
I'm like, that's literally my kids' haircuts, both of them.
Yeah, but your kids are like sweet little happy. Like this
Oh.
is
Oh.
this is giving like mom's a Karen white girl.
Oh my God. That's what I'm trying to sail the message out here.
No, she looks like she's like an evil Matilda.
Yeah.
Okay.
And very eloquent for her age. So
Yeah,
she's like, you're a piece
what
of
the heck
shit, but
is
in
this,
very
like,
fancy
little,
words.
she's wearing like fancy clothes. Any kid that knew how to look like that at that age, I was like wearing my dad's t-shirts, hanging out in creeks, being like, I'm gonna go look for frogs for like 6 hours. You know,
She was like 6. I
We
don't
wouldn't
even...
have been friends. I'd be friends with her. No, just fucking.
she's like a distinguished young kid.
Exactly.
Anyway, she's like literally cornering it. She's like, this is my treehouse. You need to get out of it. Your dad died and you don't have a dad and your mom hates you because of it. Like just really getting under the skin. And he's like, leave me alone. Like he's such a good little actor. He's like, stop it. And then he shoves her.
He's so creepy. Yeah, he's really good at it.
And I know he's so good.
She breaks her nose.
She
falls.
is standing in the doorway of the treehouse, unfortunately. So she falls and breaks her nose. And then the mom's like, get him out of here. Like it's just so dramatic. I'm like, even if that happened, my first reaction too is to underplay it.
I'm like, where are the adults here?
Yeah.
Why? But the moms are all in the kitchen.
I would be like,
gossiping.
are you okay? Are you feeling okay?
About each other.
It's all you fell. You
'Cause
fell.
all that- Yeah.
I wouldn't just be like, get him out. You know what I mean? Like, it's so assuming too. I hate that. She wasn't even there. They were both fucking fighting. Oh yeah, and there's a scene where all the moms exchange like party favors for each other, and some of her friends are like, I work. What does she call the women?
Oh
my
yeah.
god, it's like a really bad. It sounds like a very dated expression of saying, look up Babadook mother's scene. She says it like there's these ladies being like, oh, how are you doing? I know all these like, okay, wait. Oh, it's probably gonna maybe birthday. On birthday. Bum, dum, bum, ba, bum, bum. Okay, yeah, it might be this. But these fucking bitches are just like referring to her as oh yeah, there's this treehouse scene.
It's before the there it is. No.
Yeah, I'm sure that hurt, you know, that was life.
No, I think it was before than that.
That was
before.
Life trying to knock the hate out of you, little bitch.
Maybe at the beginning.
Just kidding, guys.
Because they're already out, like about to leave.
Yeah, I think it's like a little bit before it.
I mean, this isn't like
skips.
so it goes to this scene.
Okay, got it.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, so all these ladies basically are like saying how they help women like her. And they're like, all the women that I help, they're like, you're having a hard time. But and then she's like, God, I wish I could remember what she says. I wish I wrote it down. But she just says something bitchy back because she's just like, y'all are being so insensitive right now. And then Claire gets mad, and that's when the kid breaks her nose. So then she's driving home, and he's like screaming, and then her coworker from work comes over trying to flirt, and there's just no time for that. And that's that whole episode, that whole scene's about.
He was just like a little.
He's like, I
tiny
brought you
love arc.
flowers. She's like, I fucking want to die right now. But it was like, she's so traumatized that she can't even take it in.
Yeah,
like,
she kept not sleeping exactly.
yeah,
so
she's like, thank you.
That's
very
the
much.
guy.
See you next day.
Yeah.
And then we see oh wait, you know what? I
What?
think I got, so the Babadook is the first time we see it is the book, and then it says right here that then we see the remnants of the dad's clothes, and then she finds a picture of her and her dead husband, and his face is scratched out, and she just immediately thinks that Sam did it, and so she's like, do you think this is funny? And he's like, the Babadook did it.
So she's getting more aggravated, more pissed, like, cut that
Yeah.
shit out.
And he's just like, don't let it in, don't let it in. And then Sam doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go in his closet, or he doesn't want to open his closet, right? He starts seeing it, is what I'm thinking is happening. And then it says that Emily rips the book up. So she like shreds this book apart, and then she takes him to a doctor. And oh, I forgot. So this is all simultaneously happening, and that's when the at the party, I forgot afterwards, Sam has a seizure. So that's how he gets to the hospital, and they give him sedatives, the tranquilizers, which was what you were talking about earlier, and like that's
Just like, give me some drugs for these kids.
she's
please.
like, is that? She's like, that's the last option, right? Like
To calm him. Because they were
'cause
waiting
he's
for like
so-
a therapy appointment, but
oh yeah, they
couldn't
talk
be.
about that. How
So she's like, please, can I just?
yeah,
We need to sleep.
She's like, we haven't had sleep in so long.
Yeah.
And
Can you
just,
give me something?
you know,
Just
she's
these
just
2
like
weeks.
so
Desperate.
scared.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so they finally sleep, and she like looks at the clock, and it's 11 a.m. So you're like, that was a good one. And then she gets up, and the Babadook book is back.
Yeah.
And I think is that when we hear the first knock?
She gets down, knocks. Nobody knocks again. The book is there.
That's
then she
right,
burns
the
it.
3
Then she
knocks.
burns it.
So then she burns it.
Yeah.
And then but this time also, I think when she opens the book too, and it's like she's in the book.
She's in the book, yeah.
And it's all taped together, and it's like her, and it literally actually foreshadows, which you don't know, it foreshadows everything that's about to happen with a sudden uncertainty.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, she sees
Yeah.
her killing her kid and also killing.
Yeah, she
her
sees
puppy.
the dog. She kills a dog, and she sees herself kill the kid, and then it shows her cut her neck, and it's really in this really creative way where they like have the paper of the book. It's a pop-up book, and it like slits her neck, and then this little piece of paper that looks like blood, it's just a little strip of red paper, comes down. And I was just, as an artist, I was like, oh, that was like beautiful.
Yeah, it was satisfying.
It was very satisfying. And so then she's like, oh, fuck this shit. She burns it. And then she has a phone call with Claire, and Claire just gaslights the fuck out of her.
She's like, I can help you right now. Okay, Claire.
She's
thank
like,
you.
I just like can't with you. You're at your peak trauma state, but I just can't. She goes to the police station. They laugh at her. That night, the Babadook possesses her. And it's such a crazy, it's trippy. Like, he chases her up into she sees him in the kitchen, and it has that cicada sound that's like and then his little fingers that look like knives like pop out, and it's like coming towards her.
That she knows she's losing
the shit out of me. Oh my god. And then and it's making that sound that's like
oh, it's for you.
Was that good?
Yeah.
And so then she runs upstairs. He climbs on the ceiling like a fucking cockroach, and then just drops on her, and she like he like possesses her essentially. So now we have the Babadook inside of Amelia's body. If you've seen the movie Monkey Bone, they do a like sweeter version of that. So after after that, she gets like way more isolated. She's not leaving the house at all. She's getting scarier, and she's like mean to her kid now.
Only feeds him ice cream when she like screams to him like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Go eat shit. Like she is losing it by now.
She's losing it.
She's like a mom at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
Like, fucking figure it out, kid. Figure it out, buddy.
I am not buying you one more extravagant trip.
Leave me alone.
That's so funny. Oh my God. Mom at the end of summer. That's a really good joke. Okay. Amelia gets more crazy. She starts treating him. Oh yeah, she cuts the phone lines, and then he gets a little scared. Oh my God, he's so scared. And then she holds the knife to Sam's neck, which is pretty terrible. That's the one scene where I'm like, how did they do that scene? I wonder if they use like the stand-in. There's a stand-in for a lot of scenes, and then they like CGI'd his face on him or something. Who knows? She sees news of her own self having killed everybody.
And that's when she sees
when
the
she
little
sees
face.
that face.
Because they're always watching TV, like not
She's
sleeping.
like, the TV's like, ooh, and you
then
see
she
the
sees like a
Babadook
news
dancing
report
around in the
Yeah.
TV.
She sees a news report. Oh, a woman has been found dead. Killed her
then
kid. Killed her dog. Her neighbor, right?
There's just a
Also
quick 2-second clip of the shot of the window, and then the curtain goes like this, and then she's there like, and you're like, ah.
Exactly.
Oh my God. And then bum 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 bum, she gets more isolated, scary. Oh yeah, so she's then stuck in a terrible trance, and her son's calling out to her, and she thinks it's her son, and he's taking her to see her dead husband, which is actually an apparition. So it's not really Oscar, her husband. And it's telling her to give him the boy and to bring him. And he's like, give me the boy. And it's interesting because in the movie, when he gets expelled, the principal's like, we just want to help the boy. And she's like, then call him the boy. And so he's like, we just give me the boy. And she's like, no. And so then she realizes it's actually the Babadook and runs, and he really does possess her, and when she goes downstairs and she kills her dog, and it's like rough.
Because they were hiding the little dog, the Maltese, just like showed a moment of weakness.
Oh my God.
He should have stayed locked up with the kid as he was, but he was like, no.
I know. It was so sad. It was such a nice looking dog too. So it's like, whoa.
It was sad to see him go.
All dogs, it just sucks when anything happens to dogs in films. So then
Somebody had to die, and they were like a white Maltese.
Yeah.
Too.
It was like a teddy bear.
Exactly.
And so at least they didn't dwell on it long, but you know that something's up. And then right after she does that, she like stands there like this and is like like wiggling her tooth and pulls her own tooth out. And then so she then goes to look for Sam. She tries to kill him, but Sam is prepared. Meanwhile, the neighbor comes over and says that she loves them, and it's such a weird scene too, because it's like she's possessed. So she opens the door and she's just staring at the neighbor, and the neighbor's like, I just want to let you know I love you guys. And like she closes the door. It's like, that's terrifying. And the neighbor must be hearing screaming, you know? And so after that, the mom tries to pull a quick one, but Sam stabs her and leads her to the basement and traps her. He ties her down. And so she's just like on the ground, possessed, being like, come here, you know? And then he does knock her out too. So like when he wakes up, she's still possessed. He's like, what the hell? This kid tied me up, And so she's like getting all crazy, and it's really sad. And then at one point, the kid's just giving her affirmations, which is really sad.
Yeah.
And that is such a like common trope, I feel like, in families sometimes who have just this like cyclical trauma or just generational trauma,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he literally yells out, I know you don't love me because the Babadook wouldn't let you, but I love you and I don't want you to go away. It's so sad.
That's like the sad part.
And she pukes, which is perfect timing for that line. And it's all this black stuff. So you're like, is it out? And then she's better for like a moment. But then her kid starts getting like whipped around, and he goes, you can't get rid of the Babadook. And then the kid like gets pulled upstairs, and they start like it starts beating her up or beating him up, and like it's like this, it's like there's a ghost in the room, right? Like it's like
no, but in the hold back. When she was tied up in the basement, she didn't tie her hand, remember? So she started to choke the kid.
She also was
She was
choking
about
him.
to kill the kid.
She was
The
about
kid
to.
was like, and then the kid, like the moment that they did love wings, that they were like, the kid started to caress her. She was like killing the kid.
Yeah.
So love wings.
Yeah, I forgot the caressing part was so sad.
So he caressed her face, and then
it makes me want to cry talking about it right now.
I was like, I was just relating more into like her anger. And this time that I saw that movie, I'm like, yeah.
Oh my God.
I wasn't like justifiable, but I'm like, that kid had been really annoying all summer now.
I know, it's so true. She's tied.
That's so sad. But he really caressed her face, and then like,
yeah,
the demon was like, okay.
The demon's
like she spit it out because
yeah,
love, right? She felt love.
Yeah, so she started puking him out, but then he's still in the room.
Like
he
they're
just
gonna
doesn't
get rid
have
of
like
it,
a body, and then he's like, you can't get rid of it. And then finally she stands in the room and starts talking shit to him, and she's like, you are nothing. This is my house. You are trespassing in my house. If you touch my son again, I'll fucking kill you. And you're like, there's the mom we need. And she makes...
Well, you wrote all of that? All of what she did? I love that.
Yeah. I know.
And went into character.
I know. It helps me get into the plot, She makes the beast retreat all the way down to the basement and locks the door. And then they're hugging it out. And then, so Sam has a birthday. So I think there's like a social worker check-in, right?
Oh,
or
are they social workers?
Are they social workers, or are they like from the new school that he's going to?
No, I think they're social workers, like from the state that they were threatening to like take the kid away if she didn't have her shit together.
Yeah. Okay. And so,
they're like, take the kid back to school because he had been out of school for a couple of
yeah. And they're like, what are you doing? He's like, this
doing?
is my first birthday. And they're like, that's weird. You're 6. And then the kid's just like, my dad died on my birthday. Like,
exactly.
It's like kind of like a funny
on the way
moment.
to the hospital.
On the way to the hospital. And so she was like, it's been rough, but now we're doing it,
And usually she would get like intimidated when like the kid would say outrageous comments in front of people. And I like that. And then now when like she had been possessed, obviously, and had gotten through that possession, she was like understanding of her kid. She was like, that's just how he is, which I think how it should be. But it's hard sometimes because like the kid was like, yeah, my dad died of my birthday on the way to the hospital. Like, and my mom hurts me. Like,
yeah,
like you never want to celebrate. And then she was like, you give me tranquilizers. The kid was also telling. So at the end, she was like embracing her son. Like, he wasn't weird. That's just how he is. Like, love.
And she's also being open about her trauma so that people understand more, and
which is awesome because when you tell that to people, they're like uncomfortable and awkward, so they just like avoid it and have more understanding towards anything.
Yeah, totally. And then you see them out in the yard. They buried the dog, and
Rugby.
He was so cute. Okay. And then Amelia gets a bowl of worms. They're like digging for worms out in the back. And she's like, "Oh, you did good." And then she goes down to the basement and feeds the Babadook the worms. And he tries to like scare her again. And she's like, "It's okay. It's okay." And then he takes it and eats it. And Sam's like, "I have a new magic trick I want to show you." And it's a really good magic trick. And then you're like, "Oh my God, they're going to make it." And it ends like happy like that.
But the Babadook stays living
Scary.
on their basement. So I'm like, why isn't this family like moving from this house? Or it's
I
like
know.
a metaphor of like
that's the metaphor
grief?
for grief, is that
Yeah, like,
it'll
it's
always
gonna be there.
It'll always be
Okay.
there. And you some days, and you know what's funny is I just finished this book. It was fucking amazing. It's called What My Bones Know by Stephanie Fu. And me and my therapist like went through it and stuff, and it was just amazing. And there's like a style of therapy where you picture yourself in all your forms. And like, so your defensive, angry self is like Hulk mode.
Mm.
And like, this therapist was like, picture that you have, your Hulk side, it comes out. And so instead of just letting it take hold of you, being like, "Hey, like, I know you want to come out right now, and thank you for caring about me, but I don't need you right now." And that to me was like a perfect example of that, where you're like, okay, you got a little triggered here. You might have stepped out of your comfort zone and said something you don't mean or whatever. Let's bring it back. This is why I'm doing this. And it's like her revisiting her trauma every day and being like, "It's okay. It's okay." You know, it was such like a beautiful, I feel like, metaphor of that. It was such a good, fun,
A single mom,
movie. What
dealing
am I
with
saying?
grief.
Single mom dealing with grief. So you kind of talked about the movie a little bit. What would you have done if you were the mom?
I would have moved from the first time that I
know.
had
I
seen
think I would have.
everybody.
I would have been like, I need to
wouldn't
be around
there.
people. I just would have figured it out.
Airbnb, I would have never go back to that house. I'm like, take it. Like, I would camp outside. Like,
it'd be
because I'm
hard.
such a like scaredy. Like, I would be out of there.
So, when you picked this film, what was your choice process? Like, why did you pick this one?
I went on Google and I was like 10 scariest films of all time. I had seen this one and I was like, this. I remember like the first time I watched it, I couldn't even like keep my eyes open. I'm always like watching scary shit, but like covering like half of it.
Because this came out 2014. I was like 24.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, well, that one. But then I watched it last night and like the most horrifying parts were like being a single mother, having a baby, and taking care of like
kids a screaming
kid
and
with
crying
behavioral issues by
really
yourself, like dealing with medication. So I just saw her anger in a different way, and what would have been scarier earlier, I'm like understanding. I'm like, yes, when she was like fully possessed, just watching television, I'm like relatable. Look at her,
you
she
just feel
has
like you're
run out of energy.
disassociating.
Like disassociate mode,
and you're like identifying with everything in the shows too.
Exactly.
Like that's like, this is me. That's like
this is me every day of my life after I don't shower for 3 days.
Yeah. So the name. So a couple of facts. The name Babadook was easy for a child to invent. So Jennifer Clint told Complex that some people thought the creature's name sounded silly, which she agreed with. She was like, "I wanted it to be something that a child could make up, like Jabberwocky or a nonsensical name." She explained, "I wanted to create a new myth that was just solely of this film and didn't exist anywhere else," which is so creative and fun.
Yeah.
And I do feel like Babadook is something like a little kid would say.
Yeah.
I wanted to name a dog Babadook, and my friend was like, "Don't you dare." And now I'm kind of mad that I did, because I call him Baba anyway.
Your dog? You want to name him Babadook?
I call him Baba. He's named after the saber-toothed tiger from Ice Age. I just loved Ice Age. But I also call him Baba, and now I call him Grandpapa because he's 10 years old.
Oh.
So also, fun fact, Kent and Essie Davis toned down the content for the kid. This is what I was talking about. Noah Weissman was 6 years old when he played Samuel. Kent and Davis made sure he wasn't present for the more horrific scenes, like when Amelia tells Samuel she wishes he was the one who died, not the husband. That's some of the trauma that you experience in the film. But I mean, I want to it goes without saying that she was being mean, you know. During the reverse shots where Amelia was abusing him verbally, we had Essie yell at a stand-in on his knees. I didn't want to destroy a childhood to make this film. That wouldn't be fair. It's always like it was a man the whole time. That I just think that's so creative and well done. And then some other facts. The film is just about, like we thought, facing your darkness. It's about a woman waking up from a long metaphorical sleep and finding that she has the power to protect herself and her son, is what the director said. The film scared the hell out of the director of The Exorcist, William Friedkin, who just recently passed away, R.I.P. But I thought that was interesting because it also really does have a lot of Exorcist feels to it. Like your kid, like the kids, he's not possessed. It's funny. It's like a reverse in a way. Like the mom
he
ends up
looks
getting
possessed, right? The kid looks
like
beat up
he
in the
acts
entire movie.
exactly like a kid. Like it's just like I feel like that's their brains are still developing. They have this like excited energy that you don't have when you're older. It's just so vulnerable too, just like how Megan was in The Exorcist. An art department assistant scored the role as the Babadook, which is cool. It actually bombed in Australia when it was released. And someone said that Australians, or I think actually the director said Australians have an aversion to seeing Australian films. They don't like their own stuff. And that's so funny because someone told me Australia is like obsessed with like America.
Oh.
And I'm like, it sounds like we're kind of like I've also heard people be like, it's just the same thing. It's like white people just being terrible.
Really? I've never been to
But I've
Australia.
never been there and I don't know.
They're
So, have
to go
obviously
first.
obsessed. The world is obsessed with America. So
it's
I
so
mean, that's just
weird.
how it is, Katie.
We're just, I mean, I
Because
feel like
we're
in a way
great.
that we're like laughable.
USA. Come on, guys, say it with me. USA.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So also the Babadook became a gay icon. Do you guys remember that in 2016?
Really?
Yeah, it
Do
started.
you guys remember that?
Tumblr started a jokey thread about how he thought the Babadook was gay. It started picking up steam within a few weeks. Because individuals who I presume are heterosexual kind of freaked out over the assertion that a horror movie villain would identify as queer, which I think was an actual humor of the post as opposed to just the outright statement that the Babadook is gay. And so he was like the theme of many pride parades and stuff one year.
That is so random.
I know, it's so funny.
That would be the worst, the most terrifying thing for me, to go to a pride parade being like, I'm going to embrace this new thing, and then seeing that, I'd be like, I'm out.
He's a little monster in the closet.
Exactly.
Don't hold your breath for a sequel. She's denying that she's going to do it. And it was also inspired by a real kid who kept saying he's seeing a monster all over the house from a friend. And the last thing that I didn't know, Babadook has a meaning in Hebrew. So it's actually Hebrew meaning of he is coming for sure, which is pretty terrifying, and also an anagram for a bad book. Oh,
You wanted to name your dog that.
an anagram.
So you're like, he's coming for sure.
Yeah, I know. I think it'd be fun. I mean, my dog is a scary pooch. He's come a long way, but well, do you and your husband, do you guys scare each other for fun? No. Okay. God,
We don't like to have fun.
losing. Like ever since, I can't remember who the last person said they do. Do you? Okay, and then what else? What are the other questions? Oh yeah, what scares you in real life?
What scares me in real life myself? No, but for real.
No,
like,
really seeing yourself in a mirror acting weird.
Exactly.
Would be
No,
so
but like really
scary.
seeing yourself. You're like, I'm out here responsible for all of these
Yeah.
people, trying to give myself alive. So like more of like things like that. Obviously, climate change, the nuclear war threat, all of that. But I mean, I already escaped communism, so I have a pretty good build on like outside chaos. What really scares me is losing control of myself.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I get that. Like losing your mind a little bit. It's so scary.
Like seeing that mom of the Babadook, I'm like,
oh
that is
yeah. Oh yeah, like
I
the part
still
where she's
see.
disassociating
Yeah.
is like the scariest parts, I think. Further out it where she's like holding a knife and doesn't realize she's holding a knife. Like she's like, oh my God, you know. And
That's
it's a
me every night.
classic
No, I'm
horror
kidding.
trope too, where it was me. It was
No,
me.
but really that, and like seeing to the point where you can get in there with kids as well,
Oh
because it's one
yeah.
thing like, right, we're all like a product of our environment, responding to like whatever's around us, and it's fine, and we deal with our shit maybe some like as best as we can. But when you have somebody seeing you every time this happens, like they're gonna see the good days, but also the bad days.
Yeah.
And after coming, I don't know, from a traumatic childhood, you're like, oh, am I hurting you? And like, am I building bad experiences for you? So it's just like, I don't know. I was really depressed before having kids, then kind of like went back to it when I had two during that pandemic, where it was like I was laying on the floor really sad. I couldn't even stand, like, or be just watching TV. I would be like just like in my room for those 30 minutes, not doing anything. And I was sad for like a long time. I wasn't like screaming I wasn't hating or anything like a horror film, but still you're like super sad, snappy, like things that giving thought to shit that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I guess having people witness you are at your worst,
Yeah. I never
and
even
knowing that
thought
that's
about
gonna
it
have
that way.
repercussions, and that's gonna be what they have to heal later or in the future.
Yeah.
So what I'm scared is this mind that runs 100 miles per hour.
Yes, I bet. And it's hard to be like, I mean, their brains are still developing until their 20s. So like the view that kids have is so um impulsive, I think. And you gain patience, you gain like the ability to
Hopefully. I'm
yeah.
working on that.
And some people never do. But you like, I feel like as a kid you just see the world as like, what am I doing? You know, and it's hard, and it's hard to like be like patient back to that, and
I just was never really raised on that, so
understand like where they're
I
coming
wasn't
from.
raised with patience. So like the thing when you have with kids, and I don't know if this is gonna turn from like a scary part to kids, but you're gonna teach how you were taught. So unless you're conscious and aware of what you were doing every day.
Yeah.
So if you were taught was like short fuse, like
Yeah.
controlled through fear was how I was
Same.
doing. And I don't want to do
Same.
that. I
Yeah.
want to do that. I don't want to be the Babadook in
It's
somebody's
so
life. You know, I want to be your
hard
friend.
to like
That's
break
what I
the
tell my kids.
cycle. Yeah.
So exactly, breaking the cycle every day, making the choice. That's the fucking
Break the
scariest
chain.
thing. Exactly.
It's true though. Like my sister and I are trying to talk about it with my mom. Like we're just trying to get her to read that book that I was telling you guys about, and she is reading it in the wrong. Like it's not about her. We're not saying she is what this mom was in this book. This mom really was physically abusive and mentally abusive. Both parents were, and then end up leaving the author, you know, and that's not how bad we had it. Like it's not my mom, but there's just different layers of things that get passed down from how my mom's mom treated her, and then my mom's mom grew up in an orphanage for a while. So like that's got to be traumatic. Like there's just all this trauma that goes down, and that's what takes away from patience. Like
That's
you know,
why
it's like
that's why I'm like shook that everybody's out there having kids. I'm like, do everybody know what they're getting themselves into? But it's if
yeah.
you're like conscious and aware that of what you are creating, and not just having for having. But we ain't trying to talk about that. Is where a condom.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah.
Well, I was just thinking, so they don't get rid of the demon.
No,
Like the Catholic in me is like, no, you gotta fucking exorcise that shit. It's gotta be gone.
Yeah,
Like you
That's
can't
so funny.
just stay there with it. Like,
well, but you can't.
I mean, I get the metaphor about like, oh, it's grief and it's always gonna be there, but like, no, the staunch black and white Catholic in me is like, you gotta fucking get some holy water, burn that house down,
burn that
move
house
away,
down.
go away. Yeah.
Yes. Why are we staying there,
yeah,
Mom?
yeah,
like,
that's just like
to me, this is like PTSD versus CPTSD, and it's like,
you're just saying letters.
so PTSD is from like a single event. CPTSD is trauma over time. So the kid's experiencing the trauma over time. The mom has PTSD from being in the car accident. And so it's not something that just goes away. You are handling your diagnosis of having one or the other or both throughout your life. And so that's what the Babadook is a metaphor for.
The Catholic in me doesn't like it though.
We just want to burn it down.
Yeah, you
We
gotta-
wanna
I'm
say,
gotta
I'm
get it
like,
out of there.
I'm like an atheist, so I'm like, it's trauma. Life is suffering.
You're like, I'm gonna stay in this house and we'll make it work.
Yeah, somebody, yeah, that's so crazy. So Babadook did amazing on the tomato meter, 98%.
Yeah.
Audience score, 72%. Let's read some reviews real quick. Look at all these tomatoes. Oh my god, this is the most I've seen. Like, there's usually a couple splats. Okay, let's see some splats. The Babadook makes a convincing argument for classy psychological horror cinema, even as it fails to meet its own lofty standard. I wouldn't agree with that. The slow-burning Australian chiller is well acted and often quite stylish, but it feels awfully familiar and surprisingly tame by the time it reaches an anticlimax of an ending.
I did kind of feel that right now. The second time I watched it, like it took me a while. I'm like, where I want to. I got scared. Like it was like 38 minutes into a movie.
I think
like,
it scares me later, like when I'm going to
Yeah.
bed at night.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I mean, I did revisit my old fear of dying with this
Whiny
film.
children.
I just kept thinking about how we're all gonna die one day, and I
Oh,
was like, this. It's interesting that I'm thinking about this again because I've gotten really peaceful with the fact that like that's just something everybody faces. But I was like watching this film, I was like, man, it's so crazy to me how her life changed in a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
that is a sad truth of life. Anyway, so it is. I think one.
It says it's light on
it is a
terror and
slow-
heavy on whiny children. Relatable.
Yeah, but that is so. That part is. I think the
That
scenes
should
of
be in my
him.
Instagram bio.
The scenes of him just going crazy make me so stressed out.
Oh, the
But
kid.
I like.
I'm like, I've seen my
lived
kid get
that.
like,
I lived that with my siblings, and then I also work with kids, so I see it all the time too.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, kids upset is like very stressful because they
And
don't know.
scary.
Yes, yeah, they're just like so they don't know
all the emotions.
They're like, I remember when I was a kid, I was like, I'm running away, and like kids just think like that. Like it's so.
You pull a knife on your mom. You're like, I learned this from my friend.
That's like my
Oh,
childhood
he's so
friend.
scary.
Switchblade.
Let's read the good ones. The Babadook's villains and victims are still running amok in my brain. Boom. I think they might be there for some time. That's exactly. Yeah, it makes you think a lot. And then Davis gives one of the best performances you will see this or in any other year. The Babadook isn't just a movie; it's a symbol for the queer reclamation of horror movie monsters.
What?
That's funny. That was definitely a liberating
Really?
thing to put in them. No, but you know what? I do see that side of it too.
Oh, them.
But
The queer reclamation of horror movie monsters.
That's
they're
so
talking about
random.
it as because it's the queer. Remember, he's
Oh yeah. The parade.
Remember, I didn't watch it.
he's
The Babadook.
the Babadook
referring to the
is a
monster?
monster in a closet.
Okay,
So
so they're just
yeah,
really
yeah.
taking that metaphor.
yeah.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
I feel like it reminds me of like Lady Gaga. And I
She
can
was
see where they
never in
got
a
that.
closet.
And then she refers to her fans as monsters.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I can dig it.
Yeah, for sure.
It walks the fine line between reality and nightmares with skilled footing. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very artistic movie too, so it's like kind of a think piece more than it's also just about a creature feature. Like there's way more depth to the Babadook than most creature features, I would say. Yes. Well, it was so lovely to have you on the podcast, Rebecca.
Thank you guys.
Where can
Thank you.
people find you?
In my house? I don't know how much.
Should I check on you? When's the last day you left? Just kidding.
Guys, I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I have only Instagram and it's in Spanish, so you might as well just like tag it or something because you guys are not gonna understand
Oh,
it.
I'm sure.
La Pastora del Perreo.
Alright, that's beautiful to know. No, just to know when it, because I read it and I'm like, how I know that I would need to hear it out loud.
Guys,
first.
follow me on social media, La Pastora del Perreo.
Yes, Rebecca's very
Love El
funny.
Pastor.
It's like the shepherd. Yeah, it's really funny if you know Spanish, but yeah.
Oh. Nice. Oh man,
I mean, I
got
know a little Spanish.
I
Yeah.
got okay.
Que tú
and
hablas
then
español.
No.
You're like, no, we're not gonna
That
get
one-
into
that
that.
one,
Okay, okay, that's another podcast.
I need to get back on Duolingo. I felt like in the moment I'm great on Duolingo, and then when I try to do it, I
Yeah.
just need to try to practice it
I get so
without.
embarrassed.
Me too.
Really?
I
I've
get
been
really
I
embarrassed.
get so embarrassed. It's
Really?
hard for me.
I
yeah,
feel like I'm an idiot.
I'm like, all
It's
you
the
gotta do
same.
is
I
say
get
hello to this
embarrassed
person.
speaking in English, so it's like,
oh, you
well.
told me that like when we were hanging out.
yeah.
And I was like,
my
she's
biggest
got-
insecurity is
you're
like my accent.
so-
It's so heavy right now. I'm listening to it on this, and it's literally have been triggering me the entire
Oh my
podcast.
God, I'm so
Sorry.
I'm like
sorry.
cringing at the sound of my
No.
voice,
Oh
but
no, I like love your
people
voice.
like it. Yeah,
It's
people
guys,
like your
I
please
voice.
feel like
do not give me compliments. I'm like, oh my voice, that is no.
I feel like
feel like something you're like-
when I hear you talk, I'm like good energy. You want to be here. You're having a good time. Like
Trying.
no negativity at all.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I
Thank
yeah,
you.
you're very.
That's what I'm
sweet.
here
You're
to
very
bring.
like
I wish I had
present.
an accent.
What? Speaking Spanish?
It's just no. I wish I had an accent in English. 'cause
Oh,
I
an
feel like
accent.
people listen to you more.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Cringe. No. But yeah.
they're like, wow, they have something to say. They're saying
Yeah.
it from
Look
a
at
different
them. Look at-
language.
What an effort. Look
Yeah.
at her.
So, honey.
Or if you're,
Yeah.
but until you go to.
It's impressive.
No, I'm not gonna say.
I think it's
Um,
impressive.
One of the kids that I look after, his mom's British.
Speak Spanish.
She's British. So she's
Mm.
got an
Ugh.
accent though, and she says things, and I just feel like I
She's so
believe
smart.
everything she says. She's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. I'm like, yeah.
It's crazy because in
She's
Puerto
like,
Rico,
"Let
like
the
everybody
Babadook
talks like
in."
that.
But she's saying it with a, let me in, but she's saying it with an accent.
Oh, the Babadook.
El Babaduki.
She's awesome.
Dookie. That's a good way.
El
Take the
Babaduki.
pay-
Y
take
que-
the
es
power
que-
back.
Take the power.
ain't
You just
shit.
dookie.
Oh my goodness. Well, yes, we definitely will obviously always tag you in the post and everything. It's been such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Look
And
at us
yes.
podcasting,
Yeah.
horror,
Rebecca's
trauma.
been-
talking about
Killing the
social issues.
comedy
Like, oh
scene.
my god. Okay.
And so if you want to look up anything of mine, it's katiebowman.rocks, or you could follow me on social media, Katie Bowman Comedy, also JD at Left Hand Right Brain. This is a left hand. What?
I was gonna say, yeah, if you can go to YouTube, because I'm trying to get
Yeah.
the YouTube
Oh,
numbers
yeah,
up. Yeah,
please
do
YouTube, Left and Right
YouTube.
Brain. You can find all Katie's, the ones we've been videoing. You know, you can find
Yeah,
those there.
watch it.
Yeah, watch it. So I
Watch
put
it,
a lot
watch
of
it.
work into them.
Yes, please watch our YouTubes now,
And we're wherever you get podcasts. Yeah.
Stream it wherever you listen. Please like, share, and review. Thank you so much. Stay spooky.
With Katie Bowman.
Help Me I'm Scared is a Left Hand, Right Brain production, produced by JD Lopez, with music by Ben Kronberg.